had a speech prepared and a tote bag full of props. Printed apology letter, proof I'd booked an STD panel, a list of therapists. 2 secular, 1 faith-based. Color-coded like effort could be an antidote. I even brought the silk scarf he once tied in my hair the night we danced in our kitchen, as if a pretty memory could work as currency. He didn't even sit down. Say what you need to say, Daniel told me, standing on the other side of the island, hands flat, wedding band catching the kitchen light. His voice had that evenness I used to call kindness and now understood as discipline. I messed up. I started. My throat tried to save me by closing. I had an affair. It lasted 6 weeks. It ended 2 nights ago. I ended it. I blocked him. There's no excuse. I am sorry. I will do whatever it takes. Total transparency, therapy, you set the rules, I'll follow them. Please. I don't want to lose our life. He looked at the tote bag. You made a binder for your remorse, he said, not cruelly. That tracks. I'm not asking you to forget, I said quickly. I'm asking you to try. People recover. Couples recover. He exhaled slowly, the way he does when he's measuring a picture frame. Then he said a sentence I will remember with the same clarity as my first name. The marriage is dead. He didn't shout it. He laid it on the counter like a coroner placing a file. You don't mean that, I said. Daniel, please. I'm not workshopping titles for your confession video, he said, and pinched the bridge of his nose. I found the screenshots, Ava. Your messages said more about me than I ever wanted to read, written to a man I've never met in a tone I had to look up. He slid his phone across the counter. He had saved 3 images. I didn't need to click them. My brain had already filed them by time, date, and cringe. The worst wasn't even sexual. It was the one where I'd typed, he's safe and boring. It's like being married to a well-constructed spreadsheet. He half smiled, humorless. You use me like a 401k. Boring as a slur for stability, safe as code for unloved. Then you ask me for a loan of forgiveness with interest. I was drunk on attention, I said, knowing how thin that sounded sober. I felt invisible. We haven't. I stopped. Had sex, he finished. For a few months. On and off. Because you said you were stressed. Because your new job ate your sleep. Because. He gestured at the ceiling, at the bills, at the calendar. We became people who share a home and a mortgage and a grocery app, and then forget how to want each other. You could have told me you were drowning. You could have asked me to pull you to the surface. You went swimming laps with someone else. I ended it. I repeated like a spell. You didn't end a burglary by closing the window after you left, he said. Then, with that clipped, tired sarcasm I had never heard from him before. Congratulations on rediscovering the lock. He glanced at his watch, like a man with a train to catch. I called my doctor. I'm getting tested today. Please do the same. Send me the results, not screenshots of your appointment confirmation. I booked already, I said, pushing the lab order across the counter like an extra credit assignment. He didn't look. There's a standing order in this county, he went on practical, that kicks in when a dissolution case is filed. No draining accounts, no moving out of state, no harassment. I'll file tomorrow. No fault. I'm not writing you into a complaint like a villain in a short story. I'm also not pretending this is fixable because you made a Google folder. I can move out for a while. I offered, frantic. Give you time. Give us time. I'll take the guest room, he said. You keep the main bedroom. We'll split the calendar, the bills, the car. We won't play musical chairs with our lives to create a delusion of reconciliation. Daniel, I said, using his name like a lever. He looked at me then, really looked, and something bitter and young flashed across his face. You want me to say the word you deserve? He asked. The one your group chat probably tosses around like a punchline? You need me to prove I'm angry enough to be a man about it. I swallowed. No. Good, he said. I won't give you a slur to hide behind. He paused. But since you seem to traffic in code, here's 1-304. That's your search history's favorite insult, right? Rotate it, and it spells the thing you've been calling other women under your breath. I called you that in my head for 20 minutes yesterday. It didn't make me feel better. It made me smaller. So I'm not going to say it again. The word fell between us like a dropped fork. He'd said it once, carefully, like removing a splinter he didn't want to keep. I want the house, I blurted, because panic makes you pick up anything. I can buy you out. I can refinance. You're not on the deed, he said evenly. We can talk equity and mediation. I'm not going to toss you on the sidewalk, but I'm not inventing law to make you feel safe. I left him. I tried again, softening my voice like that could soften facts. I blocked him in front of you. Right now. Look. I held up my phone. A theater trick. A child's proof. Daniel stepped back. Stop trying to turn this into a live stream, he said. You don't need an audience to be decent. The doorbell rang, as if the universe had a sense of timing I didn't appreciate. A delivery guy with a clipboard stood there with a flat, square box. Daniel signed, set it on the counter, and cut the tape with the house key. Inside, a framed photo. Our wedding day, me laughing at something my aunt said. Daniel looking at me like a person looks at the ocean. We had ordered it 2 weeks ago because we finally picked a spot for it on the hallway wall. He slid the print out, held it in both hands, and then, delicately, set it back in the box. I'm not hanging a poster for a band that broke up, he said. I can change, I said. I can be someone who doesn't. Make vows into improv prompts, he finished. I believe you can change. I also believe it won't be with me. He texted me 2 links. The first, a standard parenting through separation class our courthouse encourages, even though we don't have kids. The communication framework is still useful, he said. The second, our shared Google Drive with a new folder labeled Dissolution Logistics. Inside, a blank inventory spreadsheet, a proposed schedule for who uses the car on which days, and a document called No Disparagement/No Discovery. His idea of a social ceasefire. No social media posts referencing the breakup. No sending screenshots to friends. No contacting each other's families to solicit allies. We tell the truth to the 2 people who need to know, us and the court. You really think I'm going to make a TikTok? I snapped. I think pain wants an audience, he said. I'm not giving mine one. Will you at least go to one session? I whispered. One couple's session. To hear each other in a room with someone who can translate. He shook his head. You had sessions, he said, tapping his phone. With him. In a hotel. I won't sit on a couch and pretend I'm a substitute instructor. The next day he moved into the guest room with 3 trips, suitcase, laptop, book. He left the espresso machine in the kitchen because it was a wedding gift from my aunt, and he didn't want to turn caffeine into a custody fight. He put a painter's tape label on a shelf in the fridge, D. He still changed the HVAC filter because it was on his calendar, and he still took out the recycling on Thursday because muscle memory is stronger than heartbreak for a while. I tried bargaining with the future. After 6 months, I wrote in an email, if we do weekly therapy, if I maintain total transparency, would you consider a post-nup and a reconciliation plan? He replied no. I won't make promises to a hypothetical. Please direct future proposals through counsel. He filed that Friday. A private process server handed me a neat stack of papers. The attached standing order had the same fluorescent decency tone the law uses. Neither party will dispose of assets, neither will relocate out of state without consent, neither will disturb the peace of the other. I stared at the words disturb the peace until they sounded like poetry. My friends wanted a villain and a monologue. He called you a 304? Tina asked, outraged on my behalf, when I told the story badly. I shook my head. He said it once to show me where he went in his head, and why he wasn't staying there, I said. I don't get to turn that into his sin. At mediation, the neutral lawyer slid a legal pad between us and said, in this state, fault doesn't change division, but dissipation. Wasting marital money on a third party can be accounted for. Daniel handed over a single sheet with 2 line items, a hotel and a restaurant charge, dates circled. I'd like those credited to me, he said, tone like a math teacher. He didn't say my name. He didn't look at me. The mediator typed. We split the furniture like sensible thieves. He kept the couch with the perfect corner. I took the table that has my handprint and glue underneath from the day we built it. We each kept our pensions. He bought me out of the tiny equity in the house with a number that was fair without being generous. He declined spousal support for either of us. Our salaries are similar. He gave me the framed wedding photo without being asked. I don't hang ghosts, he said quietly. I posted nothing. I told my mother the marriage was ending without telling her why, because she would weaponize the reason against me in ways I wouldn't recover from. Daniel told his parents with one sentence. We're divorcing. And did not add my name to the end like a blame assignment. We practiced decency the way you practice scales, repetitive, boring, foundational. The decree came by email in spring. Judgment of dissolution. Our names, our division, the court stamp. I printed it and put it in the same folder as our marriage certificate, because the archive of a life is allowed to contain contradictions. On the day the movers came, Daniel propped the front door open and taped the latch back with painter's tape, so no one would kick a wall. He oversaw the heavy pieces with the same calm I fell in love with. When the last box went into the truck, he peeled the tape off the latch and pressed it flat on itself, no residue. I held out the scarf from the tote bag. The one from the kitchen dance. I don't want to keep this, I said. He looked at it and then at me and shook his head. Keep your stories, he said. Just stop trying to edit me into the later chapters. He walked me to the stoop like a guest who stayed past midnight and earned the slow goodnight. I said, I hate that I did this. He said, I hate that you did it to yourself. He locked the door behind me. No dramatiques live. Just a practical click. Did he win? If that's the shape you need, yes. Not because he called me a name and crushed me with it. That would have been easier to fight. He won by refusing to be my antagonist. He won by setting boundaries I couldn't argue with, by choosing court forms over scenes, by keeping the story small. He called the marriage dead. And then he behaved like a person who believes in burial. Clean, dignified, no parade. I was left with what I should have had before I went looking for attention in a mirror. Myself. That isn't punishment. It's the only place I can build anything true. I still reach for my ring finger sometimes when I'm nervous, like a phantom limb. I still wake up at 4 a.m. and think of the line about spreadsheets and want to go back in time and slap my phone out of my own hand. I can't. What I can do is the thing Daniel did without grandstanding. Draw a line around the next version of me that says, plainly, no more lies to make the day feel interesting. If anyone asks why we divorced, I say the sentence he said first. The marriage was dead. Everything else is props.